What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchan here back again with another Pokemon TCG card review video, or card reveals, whatever you want to say. These are brand new cards coming out in our Twilight Masquerade set that's going to be in like May, June, that time frame, so a little over a month. And these are some brand new cards just revealed from Japan, and I'm going to take a look at them today. We're just going to talk about them, see what kind of cool combos they have, and it's going to be a really, really good time. So I'm not going to go over this entire set. I'm just going to go over the brand new reveals from last night. You know, we've had Ogerpon and Greninja and all those cards revealed in the past, which have been around for a while now in Japan. People have known about them. But these are brand new reveals that literally just happened one night ago. And the first one I want to talk about is Luxray EX. Yeah, this card is insane. And if you don't see it, let me put you on. So it's got 310 HP. It's a lightning type stage 2 Pokemon with two really good attacks. The first one, Piercing Glint, for 2 colorless energy, does 120 damage, and you look at your opponent's hand and discard one card you find there. They love giving Luxray these like control-esque cards. Luxray V is a staple in control decks because you just discard a trainer. Same thing for 2 colorless energy. This one's on a stage 2, but it also does a lot more damage. And it does the perfect amount of damage where you can use something like a single attachment in the double turbo energy and a defiance band, and then you can do some really crazy stuff like counter catcher up a Bibarel, for example, right? If your opponent takes a knockout, you can use the brand new Unfair Stamp Ace spec, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which basically, if your opponent takes a knockout, you can play the card and it's just like a Roxanne, and then you can use Piercing Glint and discard a card from their hand as well, and you leave them with actually 2 cards after they draw for turn, and you've gotten rid of the Bibarel. Completely insane combo you can do with this card. Lots of really cool stuff. Just being able to discard cards, you can go for something like Grabber, put a Pokemon to the bottom. Airy, discard 2 item cards, and then Piercing Glint and discard more cards. It's an insanely strong card. It's got 1 retreat cost, and its second attack is Volt Strike. 2 lightning, you do 250 and discard all energy from this Pokemon. So really, really strong attack as well. Again, with a Defiance Band, you'll be hitting for 280 damage, which means you can knock out V-Stars and stuff like that. So this is a really well-balanced card, I think. Stage 2 Pokemon, but you know, there's a lot of different Luxrays in the format. There's a lot of different Shinx, a lot of different Litleos that you can combo this with. And I think this card is going to be a really good. It might not be its own control archetype, but I can definitely see it fitting into control very, very nicely. It's a lot stronger than Luxray V, albeit a lot harder to pull off. So, you know, there's pros and cons to using it. The next card that I wanted to talk about is a little bit more down the list here, but it is actually going to be, where are you? I wanted to talk about Blissey EX. Now, this one was revealed a couple of days ago, but I still wanted to group it in today's video because I think a lot of people are overlooking it right now, and I think that it's actually pretty good. So Blissey EX has 300 HP, it's a colorless type Pokemon, and it's a stage 1. All of these are important to note. The Happy Switch ability is really, really strong because you can move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon once during your turn, which means that to accelerate energy to this Blissey, yeah, we have double turbo, but its attack cost is 3 energy. So how are we going to get more energy into play? Well, we can use the brand new Ogerpon, which let me see if I can find it at the top over here. There you are, Ogerpon. The brand new Ogerpon with the Teal Dance ability, which lets you attach a basic grass energy from your hand to the Ogerpon and draw a card. So this is your energy accelerator and your energy attachment. Plus, Myriad Leaf Shower is really good to counter Zard because you just do a bunch of damage and your grass type. And then you can use Blissey EX's ability to actually move that energy onto the Blissey when you're ready to swing with it. Now, Blissey, I think, is a really strong card because it has a lot of support. Tanking colorless has a lot of support right now, and people aren't playing it simply because, like, there's other better options. But I really think that they made Blissey in mind with cards like Hero's Cape or even Rigid Band. Rigid Band makes your opponent's attacks do -30 damage to your stage 1 Pokemon. Blissey's a stage 1. Yeah, we have Sharon's Care still in the format to just pick up Blissey and every card attached to it. We have our good pal Mist Energy, which can stop against Star Requiem, it can stop against the Frenzied Gougings, it can stop against damage counters, it can stop against all those nasty effects, and just force your opponent to try and swing into Blissey over and over and over. And if they miss a beat and they don't KO it, you just pick it all up with Sharon's Care and you send the new one in. Again, Happy Switch can bring that energy card that you accelerate with Ogerpon right back onto the Blissey. And what's it called? Its attack return, also really good. You do 180 damage for 3 energy, and you just may draw cards till you have 6 in your hand. Now, this is a really popular effect seen on support Pokemon. You have Squawkabilly, which discards your hand and draws 6 cards. You have the old Crobat V, which when you play it onto your bench, you fill your hand to 6 cards. You have the Dene GX from a while ago, which is when you play it onto your bench, you discard your hand and you draw 6 cards. This is normally an effect reserved for those support Pokemon that are really low HP, and they're 2-prizers, right? But you can do this on an attack, which kind of, brick-proofs you in a way when you get a Blissey set up. It's really hard to KO, and if your opponent's like, I'm going to go ahead and Roxanne you, I'm going to go ahead and just do all these things to you, and you can just go, okay, I'll return you for 160 or 180 damage, and I will get back my entire hand. So they have to constantly disrupt you to even attempt to do anything about it. So I think this card has a lot of potential. I think it's really strong. Keep your eye out for Blissey. I'm going to be making a video on it. I think it's really, really cool. And yeah, so now, other than those 2 EX Pokemon, we have some awesome Ace specs to talk about, and some other items as well. So this is the brand new Secret Box. This card might actually be better than Prime Catcher. I'm not lying, okay? I know it might sound like it, but I'm not kidding. This card is really, really good. It lets you discard 3 cards from your hand in order to use this card. Now, in decks that play Bibarel, in decks that need to discard cards like Lugia, this is an insanely strong card, just because we don't have a lot of ways to easily discard cards in the format. We have things like Earthen Vessel, which can discard a card and get you 2 energy. Obviously, the big one's Ultra Ball, where you can discard 2 cards from your hand and get any Pokemon from your deck. But Secret Box, being able to discard 3 cards from your hand, is really, really strong, and I think will make kind of a, it'll make a name for itself in Lugia specifically. There's a lot of Ace specs that are going to be good in Lugia. We'll talk about another one in a little bit. But Secret Box is one of those that is really, really good. And I haven't even read you the second effect, the primary effect of this actual card, which is search your deck for 1 item, 1 Pokemon tool, 1 supporter, and 1 stadium. So think about this. You have the Secret Box in your hand, and you're playing as Lugia. You can discard 2 Archeops, get an Ultra Ball to get yourself, or even, let's even do something else. No, you can discard 2 Archeops, get an Ultra Ball to get yourself a Lugia V-Star. You can grab yourself a Research or a Boss or whatever you want. You can grab a tool if you want to start playing tools like Hero's Cape or Max Belt to boost your damage. And you can grab yourself a Stadium like Mesagoza or like Collapsed to get rid of your Lumineon. So let's say you use Lumineon to search for an Arven, and Arven gets you the Secret Box. You can just kind of set up your entire board from a single item card and kind of just go into your game plan from there, which is a really, really strong effect. I think this card's going to be pretty good in Lugia. It's going to be pretty good in Chen Pao. I can't really see a lot of other decks wanting to use this, because discarding 3 cards, you need to play it in a deck that has good draw like Bibarel, or really needs to discard cards really badly. So I can definitely see this card being a mainstay stadium. Another one that was recently revealed is Scoop Up Cyclone. This is an old Ace spec that's coming back, and it basically is kind of just, it's a combination of Professor Turo and Penny on a single item card, which lets you just put 1 of your Pokemon and all cards attached to it right back into your hand. Again, this can be really good with the new Blissey that we talked about. Could also be really good in just about any deck. I mean, I could see this being good in Charizard. Once your opponent hits into a Charizard, you just pick it up. You get to keep all the cards, all the energy, very important, and then you just play down another Charizard. I think the best usage of this card is going to be in decks that are thin on resources and also kind of stally decks. I think Blissey might want to play the Scoop Up Cyclone, but you have Sharon's Care, so I don't really know. Again, you could play this in Charizard, but Charizard plays Professor Turo's scenario, so I don't really know if you would need it. The thing about Scoop Up Cyclone is that a lot of other cards right now just do its job better. You would rather save your Ace spec slot for something like a Prime Catcher, or something like a Hero's Cape, Max Belt, even Master Ball sometimes. It really does depend on what you are what your goal is with the deck. So really cool card to have back in the format. A lot of fun to experiment with this and kind of try out some new cool stalling combos, but we'll have to see how many decks actually use this one. I can see it having a couple uses, but nothing too crazy. Now, another new item card that was revealed, or sorry, not an item card, a tool card, is the Handy Fan, which reads when the active Pokemon this card is attached to takes damage from an opponent's attack, moving energy from the attacking Pokemon to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Now, immediately when I saw this card, I thought of Gengar EX. This card is going to go extremely well with Gengar EX. If you don't know, its ability Gnawing Curse reads when your opponent attaches an energy from their hand to one of their Pokemon, they take 20 damage. And its attack Tricky Steps does 160, and you move an energy from that Pokemon to one of your other opponent's Pokemon. So you hit into a Charizard, you move fire energy from the Charizard to like the Barrel or the Pidgeot or something like that. And Handy Fan can make it so decks like Charizard, they'll hit into you, you move an energy, you hit into them, you move an energy, and then they just have a Charizard with 0 energy on it in the active spot. They're forced to use a Turbo to get it out of there, or use another Charizard to power it up, and you just keep going from there. I think this card has potential, maybe not the best, you know, it has potential to make something like Gengar a little bit more of a deck than it really is. I mean, it's got good ideas, it's kind of lacking some things. It's not the strongest card in the world. It can always be lost, vacuumed away, and you're probably not going to want to be playing a bunch of them. You're probably not going to want to play like 4 of these in your deck, maybe 1 or 2 maximum. So I think this is a really, really solid card, and I can see a lot of combos coming with it in the future just to be really annoying to your opponent. Now, another card that I did want to talk about is the Legacy Energy. Again, this is one that was revealed a little bit ago, but while we were on the topic of Lugia, I did want to just kind of briefly mention it. It is an A-Spec, and it provides any type of energy as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, but only 1 energy at a time. So it is a Rainbow Energy, but unlike Luminous Energy, it's not restricted by other special energies. Now, this is very good to note. And the card reads, as long as this card's attached to a Pokemon, when it is knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, your opponent takes 1 less prize card. You can only use this effect once per game. So, Legacy Energy, really strong card. Again, it's limited to 1 effect per game, you know, which is good because you don't want a card like this to be able to be looped with something like Roseanne's Backup, or if we ever get a special charge reprint in the future, maybe after Lugia rotates, I can definitely see this card you know, being a lot more used, and it could be really broken if it didn't have this clause. But the simple effect of it providing every type of energy, but only 1 energy at a time, and not restricting it to other special energies, means that Lugia can play Iron Hands now without Earthen Vessel or anything like that. And when you power it up, Iron Hands will give up 1 less prize card. That's absolutely bonkers, and I personally think this effect alone will be able to elevate Lugia to an even higher status than it is right now. See, the deck is a little bit bricky. It's pretty good, not the greatest, and it sets up pretty consistently, but like not the most consistent. However, if you can easily swing games back in your favor with something like this, Iron Hands is a basic Pokemon, so you can just use Iron Hands, instead of like something like Cinccino where you have to evolve up into it. Just put down your Iron Hands, accelerate some energies, and you can even use Jet Energy to bring it up into the active, and then just start amping very much, doing your thing and taking a bunch of KOs. Alternatively, if you want to still play Cinccino with no Iron Hands, you can attach this to a Cinccino and your opponent just can't take prizes for it. So they can KO it, remove your threat off the board, but they're not taking any prize cards. So I think when cards like this come out, Lugia is going to become a lot more popular, and then we were going to see the resurgence of the recently reprinted Enhanced Hammer coming out in this set as well as things like Temple of Sinnoh to block these effects. I think that Lugia is going to be a really popular card when this set comes out. And yeah, I think that's probably the best use case for this card. I can see this card being really good in single prize decks as well if you're playing something like a Banette Item Lock even, or like Spite Ops control with Venomoth. Could be really, really solid addition in there. But I think a lot of the control decks would rather have other A-specs they could use. I mean, something like Snorlax might actually want to use this over Hero's Cape because it more effectively denies your opponent from taking prize cards. However, it's more easily counterable than something like a something like a Hero's Cape would be, because you can just Temple of Sinnoh this away and get rid of it. Again, you can Lost Vacuum a Hero's Cape. It depends. Lots of tools to deal with these kinds of cards in the format right now. But I just want to kind of go over some really interesting cards. I will be doing a set review of this set. I don't think I missed anything here. No. All of these were recently revealed. Again, Dragapult EX, another new card. Really good. 200 damage, spread 6 to your opponent's bench Pokemon. Really solid card. I don't want to go into too much detail about the other cards right now. This video is already getting a little bit long. It's supposed to be quick and easy. But I just want to say thank you all so much for watching today. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what do you think of these new cards? What do you think of Twilight Masquerade? This set is looking to actually be very, very solid. I thought it would be kind of a filler-ish set when we were, when it was getting revealed, but Ogre Pawns look really good. These new cards, these new EXs look really good, and the ace specs are going to be insanely broken. So Twilight Masquerade is a set you don't want to miss out on. Please be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what do you think of these new cards, what do you think of this set, and subscribe to the channel. I'm posting many Pokemon trading card game videos every single week. Thank you again to my sponsors, PTCG L-Store and Pokemon.gg. Use code Hitmon on each of those sites for some really nice discounts. And with all that said and done, once again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Hitmonchanning out.